Here we are on live stream. Continuiamo.
Con voi, con te.
And convoy everyone, or the people that are starting to join us. And let me see from YouTube and so on. Okay, convoy everyone. Convoy, welcome. And to this 13th episode of the Damanhur Talks. Tonight there is a very interesting topic because we're gonna talk about Falco Tarassaco, the visionary founder of Damanhur. So I'm expecting many questions from all of you. So feel free to write in the chat all the questions that you want to ask about this topic, about Falco, his story, his teaching, and about Damanhur, the history of Damanhur, his history, and so on. Because tonight we're gonna face this super interesting topic. Before we start, as always, I just remember to like the video and share with your friend in case you want to share this live stream or this channel, because as you can see, we do many episodes about Damanhur, spirituality, and so on. So if you feel that you have some friends that are interested to this topic, share it and help us to grow. Okay, I think we are ready to start. And Gnomo, are you ready to talk about Falco tonight?
Yes, I do.
All right. So, as always, let's make a picture of the topic that we are going to face. So, Gnomo, Falco. Who was Falco? What you can tell us about him? And in order to have a first pictures of him and understand what he has done, who he was, and so on, in order to have a first description of Falco.
Yes. First of all, of course, I'm talking about Falco also from my personal point of view, because I met him in 1980, around 1988. This is not completely correct when we will talk about how I met him. Okay, so around 88. First of all, he was a man. He was a very normal person, VNP, a very normal person with a very clear vision about the world, about his own mission, with the power to bring people together with a common dream. A very empathic person. In terms of a person with the talent to be able to share a dream. It's not so common to find people that they really have the talent to share their own dreams in a way where everyone is included in a sort of bigger dream, okay? It is composed by the many dreams of the people, including people in a dream. A sort of very egoistic point, so big that the egoism of the person was bigger than him, embracing many people with the same egoistic idea, in this case, to change the world.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
a very normal person, but also a very not normal person. Both.
Yeah, can you help us? So we know that Falco was a healer, was a magician. He was also a painter. He wrote many books.
Architect.
He was an architect because of course, he built the temple. He with the Damanhurians built the temples of the Humankind. So there are, and you can also find in our website, but all over internet, many descriptions and stories about Falco. So tonight, I think is also the chance and the opportunity to go inside these stories. And if you have heard something, or you want that we clarify something, or you are interested to a specific story or topic about the Falco lives, we can see tonight. So you talk about his dreams. So can you help us to understand his mission? What was and what is the mission of Falco, and how did he live it? from your experience, from what you have seen in Damanhur?
Okay. I think I will repeat again and again during this meeting. First of all, we have to say that because, it's not so easy to talk about Falco in a very flat way. Something we can explain as a sort of evolutionary process. Okay. Also, the figure of Falco was an evolutionary process of a person started with a very simple, a very clear dream that started to grow. Also because of the people that arrived in Damanhur when he created Damanhur. Also because of the enhancement of his own vision, meeting, contacting people, being inspired by also many other people. So his vision was grown and was growing again and again during the decades, also thanks to the people he met, but always with a very specific, with a very clear vision that from the very beginning of the Falco experience in his own project to the end and also beyond is on the moment he died, because he's still alive, this process. He constantly had the vision to put something into the material world in this point of history that can change the history of humankind. A sort of moment of division, a moment of a change in order to help human beings to change the direction and to be able to fix a very huge problem we have, that we already have, the sense of self-destruction of human being, the need to, the tendency to destroy everything, also us. So a sort of healer of time in some way, maybe. I just invented a description, a healer of time.
We like it. So most of the people know Damanhur about the temples of humankind, and I think it's important to focus on this topic because, of course, it was part of his mission and part of his project that he had and his dreams that, of course, involved all the Damanhurians. Can you tell us something about it? And again, feel free to write in the chat if you have questions about this topic so we can also answer to all your questions. Go, Nyamo. Temples of humankind. Okay, a big dreams.
Yes, the Temple of Humankind was one of the example of to how to apply an idea almost impossible, and also because it was almost impossible, it became a sort of huge magnet to create also the people of Damanhur, because this almost impossible dream was able to literally to focus the people on the same direction, and this direction was enough large in order to contain all the different point of view of the people about how to, for example, to create the temple, but always with a very clear vision. Is not always so clear also when the people visit the temple or they read about the temple, that one of the main needs of Damanhur, of the people of Damanhur, and that's why we create the Temple of Humankind. That's why Falco pushed a lot to create the Temple of Humankind, also pushing his own money on the temple. We have to remember that most of the money we spend in order to build the temple, they arrive from the work of Falco, his own daily life work. The temple is, will be very important in order to help a people, in this case the people of Damanhur, to be able to create a sort of a platform, time platform, to help the people to reincarnate also in the near future, and to continue the project. Science fiction corner now, science fiction moment. So the Temple of Humankind as an engine able to help the people of Damanhur to create a chain of many lives of the people inside the people of Damanhur. In Italian, the people and person, there are two different words. In English, it's a little bit confusing. Maybe when I will talk about the people of Damanhur, I'll talk about the popolo, okay? Popolo, using the Italian word of Damanhur. So to create the popolo of Damanhur, the people of Damanhur, they build a temple in order to have an engine that will be able to also to design the future, the what's next of the project. And because of that, was very important to achieve the precise goals during the history of Damanhur. And every goal was also related with a specific hall of the temple to be ready, painted, built, excavated, first of all, so digged, covered by walls, covered by art and piece of art, and activated usually with a concert, with a show inside the temple, in order to create sacred spaces that they became part of an engine. But we, as a Damanhurian, we had a very clear vision about all that project after many years that the temple was already done. So Falco doesn't really explain everything in the very beginning of Damanhur. Few years before he died, we also asked Falco why you never explain everything in the very beginning. It said was almost impossible, was too much for the people. Using the strategy to describe piece by piece, step by step, it's easier for the people. It's not so scary. Okay. In this way, Falco also demonstrated to have a plan, a very clear plan from the very beginning.
Thank you, Nyomo. And let's talk about his teaching. So, what was the core of the teaching of Falco? Let's say the characteristic elements of his teaching.
Maybe in a nutshell, we can say that Falco always repeated that reality is something we can design. If we have a dream, it's possible to design a beautiful life, a beautiful present. And to do that, we have to be together. So magic is the talent to do something together. This was the most important, I think the most important.
For yourself, of course. Yeah, for yourself.
For myself, the most important message. Together we can do everything. The Temple of Humankind was also a sort of testimony of the power that the human being have if they found a way to do something together.
Yeah. So I have a question from Tom. Thank you, Tom. And for all the other people that are listening to us, this is the moment, one of the chances or one of the opportunity to ask, as I would say, all the questions that you have, of course, about Falco or Damanhur, so that we have the opportunity to answer, to talk about it, to discuss it, to see it together, maybe to clarify or to add something else from one of the stories that you heard about us, or something that you want to better know specific about the Falco experience. So Tom asks, did Falco create his future incarnation? What a beautiful question. Nyamo, what do you think about that?
In this case, more than what I think, I can explain what we understood from the complete message that Falco leave us. Also, thanks to many information we received after Falco died, thanks to a series of letters we received after Falco died. Yes, Falco already designed his future incarnation, but there is a but. But this future incarnation is a sort of an incarnation in a sort of new body, a body that is not yet present on planet Earth. Is what we describe as a popolo, as a people. So imagine that the next master will be a group of people, because a group of people in the future will be perceived as a species. Imagine a new species where the different organs are the people, like we have a stomach, brain, okay, our hearts, arms, legs, and so on, and so on. In the same way, in the future, will be perceived as a species, also a group of people. So imagine that the goal of many masters of the planet, not only Falco, of the last hundreds of years, was to prepare the planet to the creation, the birth of a new species. This new species is the species of groups of people that perceive themselves as a body, as a unique body. So the next incarnation of Falco will be not in a single body, but the plan is, if everything will go in the right direction, that this new incarnation will be inside a popolo. Why I pointed out that we are not only talking about Falco, but about many masters, because from the point of view of the masters, and Falco was repeating again and again this point of view also when he was alive. When we talk about a master, it's not completely correct to talk about a specific person, in this case, Falco. The master is the sum, is the union of all the masters that they arrived on planet Earth in the entire history of humankind in order to help our species. So we can imagine that also Falco is able to think himself as a part of a group of masters that in this life was Falco, was Roberto Eraudi. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's not so flat, it's not so linear, it's a little bit complex, because also it opened many other topics, but maybe they can become a new episode.
Yeah, because we can distinguish between the person and the consciousness that was behind the person, let's say, and the consciousness, the being, let's say. It may be, I'm just guessing, that is the same one or a different shades of this big being that is just incarnating through times or different point of the time to bring further the same project, the same, let's say, mission. But
Yes.
I'm just guessing, but many philosophy or many, let's say, spiritual vision, let's say, point to, for example, to this, say, vision. Okay, Nyomo, I would like to ask you, so since this is also very common about Falco, Falco had psychic potential, spiritual potential activated. So he was using magic, rituals, he was a healer. He has done kind of this one very particular paintings. So what can you tell us about his spiritual potentials? How he was using them? What was, let's say, the one in your personal experience that you have seen using the most inside the Damanhurian experience? Let's say the one that has more, let's say, wonder in your experience. So what you can tell us about this specific topic connected with Falco?
Yes. Of course, again and again, I'm repeating that I will talk about something I experienced with him. First of all, Falco was, and also breathing with him, so closing to him, was very clear a sensation, a feeling that of a person with a very large vision of the reality, always trying to help people with a very short vision of the reality, every one of us, because of the culture, because of the education, because of everything, to help these people to enlarge his own vision using many tricks, the selfie paintings, the community also, the social living. Maybe this was one of the peculiar talents of this master, that also Osho tried to create a community in the 60s in the United States, in the 70s maybe. He was a master very focused on the idea to create a new civilization based on communities, so based on many groups, of course, because of the project, because of the mission of the about the reincarnation and everything, with many different occasion, many different talent, many different gifts that everyone was able to trigger, to reawake, in order to reconquer a larger vision of the reality. So to be able to do a jailbreak from the jail of our mind, and to understand how reality is in the same way he was understanding reality. So he used a lot of tricks. For example, one of the main aspects of the paintings of Falco is about light. With different light, with different color of light, with blue light, dark light, violet light, you can see a different painting, because it was a sort of expression, artistic expression of his own perception of the reality. Thanks to the different glasses are you using, you can see a different reality. It was repeating again and again the same message. About the wonder, about the miracles, of course, there are many stories around Falco miracles. What I experienced in my life with him was the talent to use the synchronicity in a very elegant, powerful way. Collecting events in the right way, creating, sort of miracles, not because, a light was coming from the sky, opening the sky, but everything was very simple. But looking at what happened, was very clear that there was a sort of, amazing talent to connect events in a way that something was happening against something, some other thing was happening. So the talent to drive the synchronicity, the talent to drive synchronicity. Of course, I also saw Falco one time going across a wall. I remember I was amazed about that, but in that moment I was amazed because the temple, there was a period where the temple was not complete. Imagine that some of the door, they were opening and closing, but the connection, the technical aspect was not complete. So sometimes someone was closed inside the temple with no way to come back outside. And so in a couple of times, and one of these time I was present, he entered, going through the mountain, entering into the temple. And in that moment, I was amazed. Oh my God, he's a master, because he proved that he has very special potential. But after a life with him, I can say that it was not the most important power I saw from Falco. The most important power I saw from Falco was the the talent to trigger many people and to connect people together to found a common dream, because can change the world. A person that can go across can go, across a wall, or that it's able to, the physical magic can be amazed for 10 minutes, but you forget. It's not something that can change the world.
Thank you, Nyomo. Going through the talk about the world. So, what do you think was the vision of Falk about this planet, about the human being, about our society, and so on? What was his vision, and how it can be connected with the mission that he brought and he left to us?
Falco explained us in many of the huge amount of classes he had with the Damanhurian speeches, meetings, and so on. He explained that he was coming from a future, and so he had a very clear vision about that future he came from, and his primary mission was to change this future, because it was a very bad future. So he had a very clear vision about a future we have to avoid, we have to shift, and with many doubts and many questions about the new future he create. He always repeated that in this new line of future he create, everything was you also for him. So he was like us in this new future, but with a very clear idea about what to avoid, what was wrong in the other story. Of course, talking about Falco, it's always easy to jump into science fiction.
Yeah. We saw it also in the past episode that I always recommend you to go and watch the replay.
Science fiction time.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about time, timelines, and dimensions, and so on. So even before, when Tom asked, did Falco create his future incarnation? Again, this means that Damanhurian people, that Damanhur and Falco knows how to plan and organize incarnations. So that's also a topic. So using time in order to move consciousness and so on. Okay, go on.
Actually, tonight we are doing something that Falco doesn't like at all, because we are talking about him instead of to talk about Damanhur. We chosen to talk about him because this month, the 29th of May, will be the birthday of Falco. So the celebration of the memory of Falco. So we chosen together, Antello, to celebrate that moment, and also because many people that doesn't met Falco, they want to know more about Falco.
Sure.
But was not the Falco style. Falco was not talking about himself very much. He doesn't like to, he doesn't like also to be described as a master. He said, I'm a person with an idea. But I think it's nice to talk about him now.
Yeah, of course. We, as you said, it's also a way to talk about Damanhur, or it's also a topic that many of you ask us to face through Instagram, through YouTube, through the emails. So we are also opening this opportunity, as Yama was saying, to celebrate the fact that we are close to his birthday, and also because many people are curious about his teaching, his story, what he has done in Damanhur, and so on and so on and so on. So, ecco, I think it's the moment to ask to Nyomo, how did you? What was the first time that you met Falco? How was it? I mean, tell us the story and the moment, your story of meeting Falco. How was it, and so on.
Okay. The very first time I met Falco, I didn't met him in person. I was 17 years old. I was looking at the television with my parents. I was still studying. I was very young. and I was 17 years old. And looking at the television, I saw an interview in the Italian television where a journalist was asking Falco about a very strange project. In that period, the NASA, the American NASA, started to talk about to recruit all around the world a group of people interested to go to the space. It was in the middle between something real and a joke of the NASA. But in that period, the NASA was talking about how to bring an entire group of people on the space, and Damanhur answered to this question, and Damanhur said, "We are ready. We want to go to the space." And because of this, this very very funny situation with the American NSA, the Italian television started to be curious about Damanhur. They interviewed Falco. So I saw that man that was talking about Damanhur, was talking about the community, was talking about humanity. It was a very strange situation. I had a very strange feeling inside myself. I went to sleep, and for 3 nights, I slept this man, this guy that was coming to me and say, "Come on, I'm waiting for you. Come on." And I was said in the dream, I will say, "No, this time I will not follow you. I know what happened with you." No, I don't want to. I don't want to follow you. So we were
Not
arguing.
again, not again, not more time.
Not again and again. I don't want to do that again and again. I know every time. I don't know. I know. And for 3 nights, he went in my dreams. Completely. I was completely out of blue about this guy. It was the very first time I saw this community, this person on the television. And so the third night, I started to be very, very annoyed by this call, by this recruiting. And I said, "Please go away." And he said, "Okay, you told to go." And he completely disappeared. And I completely forgot these strange dreams that they were not really dreams, because they were very real. Also, when I was waking up, I remembered until today. I still remember that sequence of dreams. And 1 year later, I was 16 years old. Sorry, 16, 17 years old, so close to 18. That in Italy was the shift to become adult. I started to think about to leave my family and to take a motorbike and to travel all around the world. I was my life was very boring. This very small town in northern Italy with everything normal, with a life already planned for everyone, to become an employee somewhere, have a family. For me, was a nightmare. So my idea was to discover something completely new. So I chosen to take a motorbike and to leave my family. Few days before I was going to take my motorbike, I met a very close friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. Eventually, he became a Damanhurian before of me. It's Picchio, and the very close friend of mine, another Damanhurian. And he talked to me about this community. I completely forgot the dreams, so for me it was like a news. And he showed to me a book. When I turned the book and I saw the picture of this guy, I said, "Oh no, again!" In this moment, I started to be very triggered, very curious. So I went to Damanhur, and the very first person I met in the Horus place, that in Damil, in the capital, in Damil, as a central place, a central plaza. The very first person I met was Falco. He looked at me, started to laugh, and say, "Oh, eventually you arrived." It was my first meeting with Falco.
Incredible story. So he recognized you just straight away once you enter to the Horus Square in Tamil.
Yeah, we met each other, we recognized each other, and they start to laugh. Ha ha ha. Eventually you arrived. You said not, but you arrived. So from that moment on, I started to be very curious, with a lot of doubt, of course, with a lot of doubt about this reality that was completely new for me. I spent many years also to understand if it was the right place and the right philosophy and the right life. And after almost 40 years, I say I was very lucky because I found my place and my people when I was very young.
Wow. Thank you, Nyomo.
You're welcome.
And also another very common question that I think is important to cover is, okay, how the story continue. So after the Falco death, how his
What's
project,
next?
what's next? What's next about the Damanhurian project, the Damanhurians, his project? Of course, it's all connected. It's all one thing. But what's next? How do we continue after his death? And what's the project that he left after his death?
First of all, when Falco died, it was a huge trauma for many Damanhurians because he was a friend, he was a person, he shared his own life with us. The same dream was so the first period, very first period when he died, we were really traumatized. Someone's also a little bit desperate because Falco, of course, in the last 15 years, completely lived any kind of role in Damanhur. So Damanhur was completely self-sufficient in any way, but he was still an inspiration, was still a person that was always painting a vision, a very clear vision that was a sort of very nice drink for our enthusiasm, sort of vitamin for our enthusiasm. But after a few months, we discovered that he prepared as a very long list of letters, letters designed to be opened only in the right moment, and letter by letter, opening the letter of Falco, he left the letter to a person, Piovra, and she has a sort of protocol to understand how to open a letter, and also if open a letter or to burn the letter, so to destroy the letter, because it's not the moment, it's not right to open this letter. And opening the letters, we started to understand that was what we perceived as a story, the story of Damanhur with Falco. This was only the introduction of a story, with a long series of seeds that now we have to plant in order to create a forest. We were convinced that the story with Falco was a complete story, but from the vision we have now, it was only the introduction. It was only the starting of the story. With a lot of, and now we understand also, as a researcher, I teach aspect that Falco teach to us, spiritual physics, ancient history of humankind. When Falco was teaching, was always teaching with a specific strategy. I was always, I doesn't like that method. For me, was it was always making me crazy because it was not only describing a complete story about something, from the start to the end, but was painting as a painter many point dots, not in order, like a puzzle, like a game. And now I understood that in this way, he had the chance to leave to us a lot of information, but without destroy our occasion to connect the dots and conquer that knowledge, that information. So, because we are not a robot, we are not only repeaters of Falco story. We are person researcher that are now putting our own experience, our talent to discover something, but with a huge amount of aspect dots that we can connect together. So today start to be clear why he used for the entire life this very strange method to put aspects without always completing the story, without always describing something from the start from the end, but giving to us the chance to do that part of the work, to connect dots in order to have a knowledge that is also our knowledge and not only something we repeated from Falco. So the what's next of Falco, of Damanhur with Falco, is the evolution and the creation of the rest of the story of Damanhur. It's not the end, but the start of the story. To be very honest, we spent 4 or 5 years to really understand how it was. So we had also this moment of elaboration of the trauma, where we had the time to re-elaborate. But now, start after more than 10 years, it's very clear that the story began. It's not finished. It's already began.
It's just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
Just the beginning. So thank you, Nyomo. And I just want to say to all of you that are following us that below on the video, in the description, you can find the link to our websites and sites, where you can also find the description of all the missions that we are, let's say, accomplished after the death of Falco, connected to many super interesting topics, and which you can also participate actively to all this project that we are bringing further. And I mean, that's also the new call that we have for the people that are interested into Damanhur, is to be part of these missions, this project. And you can find all the description in our communities, in our website. And so, or if you have other questions, just feel free to write, because let's say this is the new direction that Damanhur is following, is to accomplish all this new mission connected to many topics.
You also remembered to me now, talking about the missions of Falco that now are very clearly described in our websites, that the mission of Damanhur, not only Falco, because we love to reach that mission. We agree that mission are very important for the planet. Those missions are very important for the planet. The other shift after Falco died that Damanhur has is about the direction. Let's explain a little bit better. When Falco was alive, all our focus was on Falco, on Damanhur, on inside, because this engine was an engine that we had to create. We were very busy to create the engine. After Falco died, we understood that this engine is useful only if we offer this engine to the entire world. So from that moment on, our focus started to be on outside, on the planet, because the engine is ready, the temple is ready. Thanks to the year we spend to be focused on the inside of the community of Damanhur, now the temple is able to be used from people all around the world that they want to visit Damanhur, that they want to visit the temple, that they want to be inspired by the temple, and they want to also to join our missions. So now it's like to put everything upside down, or if you if you like, and I like it very much, as a breath. You inhale, but after you have to exhale to put outside. So now is the moment where we have to uh, project all over the world for the people that they like to do not only what we do, but also something inspired by Damanhur in the direction of the evolution. As we can see from the newspapers and television, we are still in a very challenging period. It's a very challenging period. We are still on the threshold to destroy everything, because human being is not yet aware about the real mission we have as human being. So that's the moment where to express, to turn on the engine we create. So in the what's next, we have to use the engine.
Thank you, Nyomo. I will see other couple of questions, and so if you have other questions, just write it now because we are going on closing this episode. So Tom asks if Falco ever mentioned something about the sun and the potential that it has the solar events and affecting humanity and civilization in the near future. So I try to add to this question another part, since you touch the, let's say, the events that are, let's say, touching now the humanity, wars and conflicts and so on. So, did Falco give a vision about the next events that we're going to face, the near future, as Tom is saying, about our civilization and so on?
Yes. Um, let's say that the sun is breathing. As we breathe, as a plant is breathing, also the sun is breathing. So with a period of extension, a period of contraction, there are small periods of 11 years, but there are also huge cycles of around 11,000 years. The planet Earth more than one time was irradiated by a huge amount of radiation from the sun that it's almost destroyed life. We are, according to the memories and the knowledge bring to us, we are in the middle of a period of average stability of the sun. So we have also in front of us many other thousands of years where the sun will be stable. So we have the chance to evolve our species, to create a new species, in order to arrive to a certain amount of technology, or when we say technology, let's imagine many kinds of technology, not only the technology we use today, in order also to be able to move to other planets in the future, when before that the sun start to be unstable. The problem for human being, according to the Falco memories he brought to us, is not the sun, is human being itself. We are the most dangerous problem for the planet until now, more than the sun. I think maybe many people knew about Derinkuyu or other places. Solar Derinkuyu is in Turkey. There are many underground cities completely digged inside the ground. It was because there was also there many periods in the history of mankind where the sun was unstable. It create moment of warmer with the warming of the planet, or glaciation of the planet. But this is not so dangerous as a human being that is trying to destroy themselves.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay,
This is,
Nyamo. Yeah.
in a nutshell, 40 years of discussions, not only with Falco, but because with Falco we also had the amazing, funny, and interesting process to reanalyze and reread together also all the myths of creation and all the myths of the planet that we heritage from other civilizations, like the Veda and other books. So we also did a huge work of integration of many point of view, many stories from the past, not only because of the memories of Falco, but also because we elaborated together. Can you hear me? I think Entello is offline, is reconnecting. Let's see. Okay, Entello is trying to reconnect himself.
Do you see me and do you hear me?
Yes, you disappeared. Yes. You were scared about the sun. No, you were scared about human being. You disappeared.
Yeah, my connection
Can you hear
here,
us?
we are living in the mountains here in Damanhur, and sometimes the connection is not working very well. So it may happen. So I will go with the last questions, also reading these signs.
The very last question.
And it's for you, Nyomo. The very last question, and is okay. From your experience with Falco, from your studies and so on, what do you feel right now for you? Let's say, what would you pick from his teaching and his messages that you feel more, let's say, important right now to share with others, to share with the world? So if you have to pick something from his experience, what would it be, and how would you share it right now with us in order to leave and close this meeting with something that from your experience and your studies really affects you and you feel important to share here in this live stream?
Very, very simple and also very fast. That reality is larger and richer than we can imagine, and the death is not the end.
Okay, I think I heard you. So yeah, I just my screen is coming and going.
Did my
you answer,
lips.
Nyomo?
Yeah, I answered. I said that reality is bigger than we can perceive, and the death is not the end.
The death is not the end. That's so true. Thank you, Nyomo. So I think we are at the end of this episode. Of course, you can find about Falco many books on our websites. You can find many stories, many videos where other Damanhurians has brought their story. And it will require, I would say, 10, 20, 50 episodes to share all the stories about him, because each Damanhurian, of course, can share part of his experience. But with Nyomo tonight, we touch, let's say, the nutshells, the core of his teachings, and I'm sure we're gonna cover in other episode Falco, his teaching and his stories and so on. But thank you to all of you that has been here with us. Thanks a lot to Nyomo. Thanks to all the people that participate to make these events happen. And we will see you in the next episode in the next month. In this case, it's going to be June. And be aware that in this month, through our newsletters and our Instagrams, we're going to share more content, more, let's say, infos and videos about Falco, about his story, because as Nyomo was saying, we are close to celebrate his birthday. Okay, convoy everyone, and hope to see you in the next episode. Convoy,
Convoy,
contegno,
convoy.
everyone. Convoy.